BigJackFilms here, and welcome back to the InuYasha vlogs. And today, we're taking a look at one of my personal favorite episodes of the series. This is episode 31, Jinenji, Kind Yet Sad. I love this episode, and I'm going to talk about it, and kind of describe what my feelings are on this episode, like why I find it one of my personal favorites. So, after the two-part arc in which Kohaku has been revived, Sango is injured, and Kilala has taken a thing of poison miasma from Naraku, and of course Naraku disappears. In doing so, our heroes need an antidote to help Sango Kilala out. So, unfortunately, the only one nearby is by a close-by village that might have an antidote and have the herbs to heal them. So, they're a bit far off from home, so it would take by the time they get back, they probably wouldn't be able to survive. So, this is essentially kind of going back to basics. This is another reason why I like this episode, because it is a InuYasha Kagome only episode, and it kind of takes me back again to the early days of the first season, which I love. So, InuYasha and Kagome go to this village, and they hear these villagers kind of form an angry mob saying there's some creature that's been killing women, and oh god, it's horrible, we gotta destroy it, and it's in our village, oh no. So, InuYasha's like, there's a demon here. I guess I could go kill it and make a couple bucks. So he goes to find this demon, and it's this demon that is about the size, I'd say, of something like Mighty Joe Young. And it's kind of an interesting design. It's like it's a humanoid, but with like sort of a horse head. It's kind of weird in a way. But InuYasha confronts this demon expecting a fight, but it turns out it runs away. It's like, mommy! Like it's running away to its mom, and you think, okay, there's a mother demon, and InuYasha chases after it, and then this old lady comes out and is like, hits InuYasha on the head. It's like, you swine! And InuYasha's just like, a mountain witch, which is hilarious. Karen attacks in this one. This is a good one. So, smacks him in the head, and basically then we discover that this demon is actually a half-demon. So, for InuYasha, this is something to relate to. So as they camp, as they stay with them for, I guess, some tea or something, I don't know what they're eating in this episode, I can't remember. But basically we find out this demon is named Jinenji, who is a half-demon. His father was human, or his father was a demon light weird thingy, and his mother was human, and basically the dad fucked off, I guess, and the mother, this old lady, raised her son, but unfortunately there is a lot of prejudice from the other villagers. They hate demons, obviously, so they just want to kill this guy. They bully him, they make fun of him, and all this shit, and they obviously blame him for what the hell's going on in their village, which Jinenji would never do. And for InuYasha, this is something that he can relate to, because he does talk about the fact that when you're different, you're always the first one to blame, it's always your fault, and it's kind of sad. But for Kagome, it's, she decides to stay around and help out in case things go south with the villagers, while InuYasha goes and finds the real culprit. In doing so, strikes a nice little friendship with Jinenji, and for Jinenji, this is the first human that he's actually, aside from his mother, able to interact with, and it's a very, you know, it's a classic cliche, tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme. You get the picture. I think you know where we're going. We'll discuss it in a minute. But, anyway, InuYasha discovers that, yes, there's some other demon that is attacking people, and he goes and finds, essentially, its nest. And it has a very alien vibe to it, like Ridley Scott's Alien, which I really like. So it turns out, yeah, there's the mother and the babies, and they're gonna go kill the rest of the villagers. Meanwhile, the villagers come in as, you know, the classic Frankenstein angry mob, kill the beast! And, you know, they're torching the house with the mom and Kagome in it, and you're like, oh shit. The mom gets injured, hit in the head. I'll bring up, there's some surprising symbolisms in this episode about prejudice and racism that is currently going on right now, which is kind of convenient, so I'll get to that in a sec. But anyway, they attack the Jinenji's hut, you know, thinking, you know, quick to judge and everything, but then the real culprit shows up, and it's this giant Cthulhu-looking centipede thing. It's always centipedes. Come on, guys. Can you not be creative with your monsters? Why is it always a giant centipede? Can it not, like, you're doing some sort of Beauty and the Beast kind of Kong-esque stuff here. Want to have a giant lizard dinosaur thing. That'd be awesome. So, the creature attacks with its minions, and InuYasha's taking out the babies and slashing them down and all that great stuff. But, you know, the big demon's a bit harder to kick, so Kagome tries to shoot with the arrow, gets knocked down, and then here comes Jinenji to save the day, and it's this classic giant monster brawl, and, you know, trying to protect Kagome and the person he loves, and meanwhile InuYasha's turning to the villagers like, oh, y'all motherfuckers are running away when the going gets tough, and the villagers are like, please save us, we didn't mean to, and it's like, oh, okay, whoever's strongest is leader of your pack. Turns to Jinenji and says, show the cowards, teach him who's boss. Jinenji does a fucking, like, Mortal Kombat-based punch and punches the fuck out of this thing through the fucking mouth and just slicing it the fuck open. It's amazing to see Jinenji's powers. Unfortunately, is not utilized enough in the series, but I digress. So, everything's settled. The villagers allow Jinenji back kind of into their village, help fix up the little farm that they're on, and InuYasha and Kagome get the herbs and go back to help Sango and Kilala. And while doing that, you know, InuYasha learns a bit of something here. I fucking love this episode, and there's a couple of reasons why, especially now, which is interesting. So the first thing I should bring up, this is a very good, almost anti-bullying episode, because it does deal with, you know, people who are different, and it's something that I think nowadays we can all relate to. You know, I was that kid for a while. I was that kid who was different and kind of picked on in school and shit. I think there were a lot of people who were. But, you know, it's that, it's prejudice, it's racism, which is something that is currently really relevant right now, especially what's going on in the world. So for people who want to learn a little lesson about prejudice and don't be an asshole, go watch this episode. But the main reason I love this episode, this is definitely in my top 10. This is up, and again, it's a filler episode, so you think it's not important, but no, it's a good one. There's a lot of King Kong in this episode. I'm sorry, I'm just a sucker for this. And it's not just King Kong, it's the Beauty and the Beast genre. You know, it's one of my favorite genres in storytelling. Going back to the original story, the classic fairy tale, down to things like the Disney film, Kong, Edward Scissorhands being one of my favorites. You know, it's a great tale of how one person of great beauty can love something that's not all pretty, that's not all physically attractive, but has a heart of gold, which is what should matter in any relationship or any, you know, person you connect with. It's like, it's not about this, it's about what's in the heart, essentially. So I love this episode for it. It does it so well, especially with Jinenji, and Jinenji is easily one of my favorite characters in the series. He's not in it a lot. Like, there's a few moments he makes appearances, but this is the only episode that he has any relevance. And it's a shame, because you think in battles with Naraku, this guy could do some damage. This guy would be a good guy to have in a battle. Which is something I would love to explore at some point in a story, or like in a fan film or something. But anyway, but it is very Kong-like. It is very Kong-like. You have this giant 10, 12-foot gorilla, orange, weird-looking monster thing, and then you have this girl. You know, Kagome is our Andero. And funny enough, when I was doing my Kong remake, I was inspired a lot of Anne's character on Kagome, and it was mostly because I watched this episode. When I was doing my research and writing and coming up with the relationship for Kong and Anne in my remake, I took a lot from this episode. So you see a lot of that in this as well. It's also a very gorgeous episode. The animation's great, the backgrounds are great. There's some great sunset shots in this episode. But obviously you have the scene where, you know, Jinenji fights the giant centipede, and it's right out of a Kong movie. This is like Kong battling the Tyrannosaurus Rex, or battling the giant snake on Skull Island. In fact, this is kind of a nod to the Legend of King Kong, when Kong was supposed to fight a giant centipede, or it's like the Skull Crawlers. It's a classic Kong. You have some classic Kong shots. You have a shot of Kagome looking up, like from kind of a low angle, looking up at these giant creatures, like battling it out, and he's trying to protect her. It's very on par with that, and I don't know if maybe like just the animators we're having a lot of fun and maybe looking at a film like Kong for reference when doing the fight scenes and the relationships and stuff. It's very much like that, and it's absolutely fantastic in this episode. So, and especially with Kara Wanda's music, very Godzilla, Kong versus Godzilla based and everything. It's got that feel to it, I find. So, bottom line, yeah, I love this episode. This is definitely in my top 10. Despite it being filler, it's a great episode. It's a great arc. And I definitely would say this is a solid 10 out of 10 for me. This is one of my favorites. I'd recommend it for everybody. I mean, even again, as a filler episode, it's one of the best. But as an episode in general, it's fantastic. Especially with what's going on right now, the Beauty and the Beast aspect. If you're a fan of that storyline like I am, you'll love this episode. Great way to maybe even get started. The humor's great. The acting's once again fantastic. The guy who plays Jinenji is great. And so is the mom. The mom's actually really fun. But yeah, I really love this episode. So definite 10 out of 10. Go check it out. And it might get you started on the show, especially if you're a big kaiju fan. This is, for InuYasha fans, for Godzilla fans and kaiju fans, this is the episode for you to maybe get started on. So I'd recommend it. And this is going out to Kaiju Network and Sean. This is a good place to start to kind of get your kick. So yeah, that's it for this InuYasha vlog. Once again, these are Patreon exclusives, kind of iffy, depending on where we're at when this airs. If you guys want to go check these out early or want to support the channel, go check out our Patreon. Just $1 or more will get you early access to all of our content, as well as other special features, and all the funds are going to be going towards an InuYasha fan film. And by the way, a quick little update with these two episodes that I'm filming simultaneously. If you hear something in the background, that's our humidifier, because it does get pretty cold and humid in here, so we're doing that right now. So if you hear the humidifier, I apologize. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me know what your thoughts are on Jinenji Kind Yet Sad in the comments section below. And until the next video, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying, don't be a dick. And it wasn't the Shikon Jewel. It was Beauty that chomped the beast. Later!